What is going on, everyone? And today I'm going to tell you my final review of the Qiaodan Kungfu Pro. Everyone, long time no see. I know I've been out of the spotlight on YouTube for a bit. Just the holiday season. Just want to spend time with family and whatnot. So here I am today. I'm going to give you my full review of the Qiaodan Kungfu Pro. Quick disclaimer, I actually purchased this shoe. No one is telling me what to say or what to do with the shoe. This is my review, my personal feelings on this shoe, and let's get started. Let's go with the specs here. Specs here is, I believe it is from research online, it is a 5mm drop, and from my test on the toe area, it is a 33mm. So if it's a 33 and it's a 5, this gives it a 38. If I'm wrong about that, please comment down below for the correction of the stack height on this shoe. On the upper, it uses a mesh upper, a very translucent. Now this one is different compared to the purple version that I have. So the purple version right here, it uses, I believe, pretty much the same material as the white one that I had just had. This one is very thin and it's very like paper-like, very translucent, just like the white version. This is supposedly, from what I'm guessing, is trying to be like the vapor weave. There's no structure. It's just very flimsy on top with this one. Now, the white one here, it has a little bit more structure, and let me explain that. So you guys see kind of how it has these little dents, little lines. I think that's what gives this version more structure on it, okay? It also has an outer layer of structure right here. The toe box also uses some structure as well, if you can see. As I mentioned about the purple one being translucent, this one is also translucent as well. So you can kind of see my fingers. Now let's go on to the midsole really quick. The midsole uses, I believe, it is a TPU EVA compound blend. I believe if I'm not mistaken, it's very similar to the Adios Pro lineup for Adidas, or it is very similar to the same midsole that is used in New Balance with their RC Elite or SC shoes that are coming out. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong about that. I believe it's one of those two. It's a very, very squishy and soft, bouncy, responsive, you name it. This midsole it's got everything. If I do the durometer test, you can see how much it goes, my finger when I pinch it, and how much it goes in. You can do the same in the forefoot area, the toe area, okay? It also, inside the midsole, sandwiched in, is a carbon fiber plate. So if I try to do the bend, won't do it. If I do the twist, not so much. And that's all right. Let's move on to the outsole here. The outsole uses a rubberized compound. Just a little bit on top right here, and it moves on to the midfoot. And then carbon fiber plate is right there. They expose it there to show you guys. And then down here, it's a little dent, little river, I would say. And then on outside of the river, we got 2 strips of extra rubber as well. This shoe, I bought this one off of TaoBao. I don't know how to pronounce it. Sorry, guys. But it varies off the sellers that you purchase it from on that website. I actually purchased this shoe for $110 US, which is, I think, is a steal for this type of shoe. And I'll tell you the reasons why I think it's a steal. First off, just the my first initial thought when I actually raced or ran in this purple version was the durability of it, okay? Right now, I've put down over 100 miles on it. I believe I put exactly 112 miles on this shoe, and it's actually holding up very nice. The ride feels just like the way it did when I first put this on my foot. It's just amazing. It's just an awesome ride. Like I mentioned earlier with the midsole, it is a soft, it's bouncy, it's responsive. It has, I don't know, this midsole is something very special. Would I say it's as special as the Zoom X from Nike? It's up there. It's up there, but I don't know. It has Nike. The Zoom X has some nostalgic to it, so yeah, this is very close to it. It's a very nice ride. When it comes to the midsole, you can feel the carbon plate. Honestly, with the 5mm drop, it actually feels like once you put your foot in, it's like your heel sinks in, so you kind of feel somewhat of a negative drop, which is not the case, especially when you're running on it. I'm actually a 4-foot midfoot striker, so I don't really land on the heel, so I don't feel like the smushiness or anything like that, because I usually just land like that. So you do get a nice, like I mentioned, responsive feel to this ride. It's an excellent ride, guys. When it comes to the upper, though, now this upper compared to the purple one this one is, like I mentioned, I feel like it's more structured, and it's such a better ride. It's just a better feel for the upper, when it comes to the fit. This is a US size 11, Euro 45, and this is actually true to size for me. And it fits really well, as a matter of fact. And one thing about the white version, this is actually supposed to be a glow-in-the-dark. It doesn't glow in the dark at all, just so you know. I think if you've seen pictures online where it has like glow-in-the-dark and it's green, that's not the case. I only bought this because it was white and I thought the white version would look cool. Just throwing it out there. But anyways, yeah, the fit is really nice in this shoe. There's no rubbing or anything like that. The one thing I wanted to bring up, if you follow me on Instagram, I'll have the link down below if you guys want to follow me. I've had I did this picture where this is the other side. I actually have a bloody, but that's not because of the shoe. I did a long run workout with it. I think I did like an 8x1K, and it was like a total of like, I don't know, 15 miles or whatever during the run. But no, I just did, when I was done with the workout, I took my shoe off and I looked down and I saw it was bloody. It's not the shoe. It was just because I didn't trim my nails. Okay, so going off of that, I wanted to compare this version to the purple version. Now, as I mentioned earlier, that this one is very flimsy on the upper. It's really no structured or anything at all. Now, when you are actually putting the shoe on, for me, the medial side, which the middle part, it always hangs out like this. So if you're looking at the bottom of it, you can kind of see that this is sticking out like that, which is the case. So it's not really good feeling, especially when you're trying to tie it up. Is the shoelaces here? The shoelacing system is not great on this one. So when you do tie it, you do feel a lot of pressure on the medial part, top medial part of your foot. Whereas this one, as I mentioned, it's more structured. You don't get that sensation off the midfoot or, the medial part right here. And then this, it just feels a lot better. I think it's just because the structure of the upper, it forms in your foot a lot better. The heel tab, or the heel counter, I'm sorry, is very padded for a racing shoe, which I like personally. You got on the upper part, it's very padded, if you can kind of see right here. It's very soft as well. If I try to push in, it doesn't push in as in. Let's see, compared to this one, I believe it's the same thing. No, not really. So this one, the white version, uses a little bit more structure to it, so that's why it's not moving as much. When it comes to the durability of the whole shoe itself, the one thing that did surprise me a lot was the outsole. Now, I thought the outsole would be just shredded, just torn up, because the rubber is so thin on it. But as in actuality, it is actually holding up very, very well. There's really no fading or anything at all when it comes to this midsole in particular, which most of my running shoes, I always, like I mentioned, land on my mid forefoot area. So I always actually land on the lateral part first, and then I just move on up like that. That's the way I run. And it's usually this area is always faded on my shoes first, which in this case, it's not really. You can still see the patterns on the outsole on this, so which is a really good sign. And I have also ran in this in wet conditions, muddy conditions, you name it, and it's actually held up very well. Now, I mean, obviously it's a white version. There's a lot of discoloration just because of it, just from wearing it. And this is a very, very good shoe. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but this is a very good shoe. Now, what I've used this shoe for, I have raced in these local races, local half marathons, and a marathon and a 10K in it. And it's actually held up very, very well in those situations. So the 2 half marathons, I actually did a personal best, not on this shoe, but in this shoe. So my personal best, I placed a personal best half marathon time on this, the Qiaodans. Placed second overall twice on the half, and I actually placed second overall on the Tucson full marathon back in December, and I actually wore these white versions. They are a marathon shoe. Would I use this for a marathon again? Probably not, because I have other options in my running shoe rotation. But definitely a half, definitely a 10K, and a 5K. I forgot to mention the weight on this shoe. Now, these two shoes, although they're the same shoe, they have very different weights. Now, I believe this shoe is lighter than this shoe because, as I mentioned, it's more structured on the top. It gives it just a little bit more weight. And if I'm not mistaken, it's quite a substantial difference between the weight of these shoes. I believe it's like 20 grams. This one is 20 grams heavier than this version. Just to give you guys a heads up, just in case you're undecided whether to purchase this white version or the purple version. But this purple version has all different kinds of colors. I believe there's like green and orange and red. That is the lighter version. This one, as I mentioned, is about 20 grams heavier. If that makes a difference for you, then go with this. If not, go with this. But as I mentioned with the uppers, if you don't like a flimsy upper, that's not the best upper in my opinion, then I would go with this one. So what am I using this shoe for now? I'm actually using it just for workouts now, just to get my speed work. I'm actually using this also for like my long runs. If I'm doing if I'm like throwing in a workout inside that long run. I must say, this is a very, very good shoe. So thank you guys for watching. Hey, let's connect. If you want to follow me on Instagram, like I mentioned earlier, I'll have that link down below. If you want to follow me on Strava, I'm actually doing the Boston Marathon in April. So if you want to follow my workouts, I actually kind of started. I think I'm about 4 or 5 weeks in. Yeah, let's connect. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe as I mentioned. Thank you for watching at the end. And I will see you next time.